Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Desolate Dynasty Horror Podcast. Today, for episode 5, I chose to try out a couple changes. Most notably, at the beginning, you will notice I attempted to compose a new background audio in order to up my skill in that field. I would like to compose a new music track for each of the episodes following this one, but we will have to wait and see how feasible that is. In addition, the story relies less on blood and gore to brew a feeling in the audience, but instead bewilderment of technical discussion mixed with another writing style I desire to learn. Please bear with my own experimentation whilst you listen to non-linear thought. My dear friend, Isaiah, it has come to my attention that this is the conclusion of my story. The great climax of my discoveries is behind me at this point. Nothing can be done about it. No strides in any direction, no attempts to undo my dubbed sins, no hiding and no sulking will ever undo my end. Due to my inability to save myself, I will inform you of even the most cultivated and most obscured, the most deranged of my discoveries. These will be transcribed to you upon this letter you will have received in the mail, under my alias, Sidon Trice. The name should delude my pursuers to a high enough caliber that their own strides do not lead them to you, as long as this document is not once again transcribed in a medium better seen by the public. I do not know your end, for I do not live to see it, but I do see my own. So I wish to announce one last time my findings for you, who has stuck around for so much of my experimentation and tinkering, my well-concluded successes, my closed-down failures, my celebrations and vulgar announcements of disappointment. I have known that my story concludes soon enough for well over a month, but I have put off writing this letter to you, my friend, until I have seen just what the synopsis of my demise entails. Now, just the night before my writing of this document, I understand my demise to some mundane degree. Just 3 days from this transcription, a small group of men wearing dark suits with a logo I have never witnessed yet arrives at my door like some payrolled reapers. Their logo is smudged in the memories, the effects of my experimentation now eroding my present memories. But what I can make out is the term sensory arcane. They arrive at my house astride a bulky military vehicle. As I was reluctant at first, one pudgier one pulled his black suit, sporting a gun around his engorged waist. The third of these obscured reapers simply glared at me with the most professional gambler's poker face I shall witness in my life, without making attempts to gamble myself. With unrelenting reluctancy, I submitted to their intimidation and was placed in the back of their obese transportation vehicle, where I was confined to a wall with shackles, my mouth gagged, and no sickly sweet promise of freedom by my captors. Not a word to leave my gagged mouth. However, I do not believe they would be willing to announce their reasons of my mistreatment if they had been able to make out syllables from my muffled cries. The continuity of this experimentation was blurred as well, and I have little recollection of what was to occur inside of the obesely armored vehicle, but the few instances of cognition whilst confined to this time frame. I was at times electrically shocked when, especially restless, screamed at in a language I could not comprehend in my defaced state, and finally unchained when the vehicle had stopped for at least 10 minutes. I was sedated when I made attempts to wriggle free from their grasps, and at last I was dragged to a dark building with glass doors, but once again lost cognition shortly after arriving at the seeming headquarters of this obscured corporation of sensory arcane. It was an incomprehensive compilation of cognition and sensory input mixed with utter darkness, no sense of being, that made me so sure this would be my demise. Once the sedatives wore off, however, I learned my fate would not be so soft and swift. An undecorated room, a dull color of gray-black, a coffee table in front of me had what looked like a small filing folder. My arms were free, but my back was strapped to a chair that I now sat in. I looked up, noting a very refined version of the electrical helmet I used for my experiments. right above my head. I now knew to a very mundane degree why I was confined to this perverted corporation's headquarters and abused in the ways I witnessed. They all knew of my experiments. They knew. They wanted to learn what I had learned. I retrieved the small file from the table out in front of myself and opened it. Scattered throughout the papers and documents were pictures of my own lab, myself working on the machine which served as a prototype to this distorted throne I was betrothed upon. I became more frantic as I flipped through the documents, pictures, and blueprints, until I found some copies of my own documentations of the experiments. I had forgotten many of the words due to the degradation of my mind as a result of the experiments, and I had lost the logs over the span of the time capsule project, and as such, I shall include what I recalled during this episode of upcoming memories, so you have a firmer grasp on the situation. 17th of July, 2006. I had a most obscure dream last night. I saw the writings I am to place here today. I saw some pains I suffer, and I saw tragedy amongst other images. I saw today in its entirety, outlined with events of a higher emotional toll, more in-depth, much more flavorful. Deja vu was the recurrent theme of today's events, as I saw every upcoming event before they came about. I had a friend who was at the Rosen building today when the bombing there occurred. I warned him not to go out today, but he is a stubborn man, and my strides had no effect. I knew what was to occur, but what is the purpose of knowing events later down the line if I could not stop them? Why was it that I knew of this event and yet had no power to prevent it? A lesser event, I could abstain from the continuity of this day. I saw myself stained with the burnt coffee of a cafe shortly after the attack occurred, with no knowledge yet of the event regarding the lost friend. A waitress's steps became too hasty and she fell against the table. My jacket was covered in coffee. That is how it was supposed to occur, and I managed to jump up from my table as she fell. I quickly recalled my friend and his tragedy. Maybe I didn't warn him soon enough, or maybe I just couldn't prevent everything. Either way, he is gone. That could not be undone. The day has reached an end, and I hope I will wake up again today and could prevent that same demise. 28th of July, 2006. I went to the funeral today. I thought I saw it again the other night. That may just be the guilt of this putrid inability to prevent his fate, however, as I had less knowledge of what was to transpire. In any case, it came about, and I cannot change that. Accept it, I tell myself. And yet, I feel as though maybe I can prevent future occurrences. Why did I see the day twice? Why was I able to know? 7th of August, 2006. The imagery has been flashing in my mind ever since. Another dream. I am betrothed upon a desolate chair in a nigh empty room, not another man in sight. A circular coffee table lies out before my own person, a small journal sitting upon it. The chair has a large helmet atop it, which glides down to my head and pushes precise needles into my skull like 1,000 putrid bugs, hoping for a succulent meal. They pinch as it encloses my skull and intersects my brain, and I have the last opportunity to initiate the final step or remove it from my brain and walk away. I remember my friend once more, and though it hurts as the needles protrude my skull, I initiate it and feel an intense shock through my head and awaken from the dream. Immediately, I sketch what I made out about the chair from a reflective window from my right, and see it upon a more deformed pen sketch in the present world. Maybe it is unrelated, maybe it is a vain dream trying to cope with the guilt of the loss of my friend. But whatever it may be, I hope to see how it is constructed. It may be the solution to preventing other events by perfectly predicting them. 9th of August, 2006. I saw for the first time the blueprints for this device scattered across a desk I saw in a local furniture store. I wonder if it is at all plausible that I can obtain the desk without making the purchase. What makes one of these glimpses inevitable or inevitable? I will not spend my own savings on the desk. If I am meant to obtain it, I shall not make a Macbeth stride to ensure it. 15th of August, 2006. I made no attempts to obtain it, yet through some freak incidents, it is in my possession. A friend purchased it, but his wife dejected the thing. He bought it for the purpose of a vanity stand, a mirror to be mounted towards the highest point of this sloped desk. but his wife despised the color and consistency of the wood. When other friends dejected it as well, and the store wished not to purchase it back, he approached me in a desperation to dispose without a total waste. Could I have rejected it? Could I have stated I simply do not wish to have the merchandise? I suppose I shall wonder that for a while, but for now, it is a new decoration of a laboratory for these experiments. I now must ask myself once more, what makes an event inevitable? Maybe there is some ending that must be reached, and certain stepping stones cannot be changed while all intermediate events can. Maybe the creation of this device I pursue is what everything leads to. Should I feel so inspired to create it, had my friend not fallen victim to the attack I feel in part responsible for? The spilling of coffee made no impact on the choices I have made so far, have they? I've referenced that event so many times, but maybe I misinterpreted it. All dreams are is the reinterpretation of experiences and memories. Maybe I had never been meant to be soaked in that coffee. So many questions, and yet I feel mad enough not to discuss it with another man. 28th of August, 2006. The first of the blueprints are laying upon my desk, and yet I feel like something is off when I stare down at it. Is there more to be added, or are there more to be sketched before I see it as it was? In any case, I will interpret this blueprint and seek understanding. I have not a clue as of now how it will increase my ability to know events that are to occur, as all evidence points to that being the purpose. 24th of September, 2006. This device is ingenious. The entire theory, really. Our minds are a malleable thing. That is what one of the 5 documents upon the desk I saw in the dream had suggested. Memories are formed by burning pathways into our mind, thus modifying the layout of our neural network. When we accept new stimuli, we will, as well, burn a new pathway to replace unused ones. These thus given a memory a physical manifestation. Consciousness and choice are made by a bizarre improbability factor. A pathway between each neuron is the incorporation of quantum circuit. In theory, each choice is the redirection of energy between 2 locations to create a certain chain reaction, leading to one action or the other. But decision alone is not a viable mutation or evolution. Sure, it allows for intuition and ingenuity, but arguably these can be achieved with a well enough programmed AI. Rather, the ability to displace memory is the viable mutation. We advanced as a species because we witnessed dangers to come. We as a species grew not because of the ability to make improbabilities possible, but rather our witnessing of the future and ability to prevent our demise, or ensure we have a reputation before we die. We become immortalized because we can witness certain extremely emotional events. Emotions are, as well, an opportunity to increase our survivability. Call it depth of memory, but when emotions are involved heavily, the memory has a larger surface area, and thus having a higher probability of being transferred between our future and past selves. In conclusion, by utilizing the quantum particles of our minds and in decision-making, we can transfer neuron pathways between any point of time. Using entanglement of the same particle over different points of time, one can transfer information between them over time intervals as opposed to space intervals. Highly emotional points of our lives have higher depth of memory and thus increase the probability of transference and past recollection. It was difficult to comprehend how this correlates with a device, but I fully understand it now. It is very much like Tesla's degradation into madness, really. By initiating a higher energy state in the mind, one can travel between thoughts at a much quicker pace, thus increasing the chance of an interaction between distinct points of time. One can reach this state one of 2 ways. They can initiate electric probes to increase electric current in one's own mind, or they can decrease body functions and focus more energy to the mind, as is the case when sleeping and dreaming. This is one reason one can use deep dreaming techniques to remember past experiences, why one can experience time dilution during sleep paralysis, lucid dreaming, or false awakenings, and why one can increase future memory recollection. Ultimately, however, dreaming for future memories is unreliable without avid experience in lucid dreaming. The ideal scenario is with the device I have seen, using that to recall these future memories. The device will be constructed in about 2 months, and I doubt anything important will occur. 14th of November, 2006. Just as predicted, the device is complete, though I question whether it is right to use. Will I receive some other effects than just recollection of future memories? Surely, despite the precise positioning of the probes, there is some damage from probing any obstruction into the brain. Perhaps, however, it is unavoidable. Temptation of curiosity is too much. Meanwhile, I think to myself in the chair initiating the experiment. It does not matter. In the case it was not meant to occur, something will prevent it. If, however, it is meant, I cannot prevent it. 19th of November, 2006. I reviewed the blueprints of the device, and it is indeed all set. I shall initiate the first trial tomorrow, but what must I use it for? Predict lottery numbers? Entertain my greed? That is hardly original, but I seek out not originality, but instead answers. Maybe I should focus on the dark wood desk. Upon it were 5 documents. One was the first blueprint, another the journal which I hold in my hand. Third was the document on the theory. However, the final 2 documents had no material I could recognize. I will sleep on it, and we shall answer tomorrow what the foci of the first experiment will be. 20th of November, 2006. The final 2 documents were the notebook I have scrolled down this little note in, and a combination code of the locker with a key. In addition, why a storage locker is relevant as the other supplies that I saw upon the desk, I am uncertain, but that is the case regardless of my conviction. An address on the passcode sheet seemed to shew a location a couple states over. Why I am meant to purchase the obscured locker, I am uncertain, but let that just be grouped with the other uncertainties I have witnessed over the past few months. 21st of November, 2006. I realized I failed to log what my first experience with the device included, or perhaps I misplaced the log somewhere. Surely, I couldn't have failed to write down something so important, but why would I log it anywhere else? In any case, the device was quite unsettling. Granted to me for just a few painful moments, it was all that is much of my future and past life, all quantified into a singular, minute second. The 24 probes from the helmet of my recent culmination of pursuits seized my mind and removed my own sensory input by the means of unfathomable pain. In the moments sensory input was retained by myself, I had the option to undo my foolish tampering of my own mind, or indulge on with my curious endeavors. With a final button push, any granted ease of the procedure had diminished, replacing instead by worsening, burning, shocking, and pinching throughout the structure of my own brain. Then, just as quickly as the pain begun, other sensory inputs initiated. I saw from 1,000 minds' eyes where I will be and what I will do. Obviously, the speeding up and burning of the mind is not a sustainable circumstance. I focused the pain and imagery to the desk. I witnessed a few times the past and future, and saw all that was upon it once more. As explained before, the desk betrothed upon it this notebook of my experiences, the information of the locker, the blueprints, and the document on the theory. My next step is to purchase that locker for reasons I still know not. Next experiment with this device, I intend to focus on the locker. That is, of course, after I purchase the locker. Maybe it will grant me some recollection, some new deja vu to remind me where my directives are. 14th of December, 2006. The storage locker is in my name, though it triggered no new deja vu, nothing new to report. 4th of February, 2007. I feel like an idiot for misplacing this notebook for as long as I did. Not wanting to get anything mixed up, I have resisted the urge of the device for this duration. I lost this journal, granted, at last, this personification of my rationalizing mind. I feel I can finally use the device to learn what more there is regarding that storage locker. 5th of February, 2007. I kept the journal in front of me this time around, with the desk sitting before myself on the obscured desk. The knowledge it granted me was minute, save for seeing myself lock this device away in the locker. Reason for this I am uncertain. I suppose I shall learn as I go along, or I can use the device to further foreshadow my life story. Of course, the device itself feels an awful like any religion's depiction of how curiosity and jealousy lead to damnation. Pandora's box shews someone so bent on knowledge and power that they curse their people with all evils. Likewise is the story of the Tree of Knowledge, from which the Christian origin story depicts humans gaining knowledge, bringing sin upon the future generations. So is the pursuit of this innate ability of humans truly a just cause, considering potential side effects? More questions. I should sleep more. 17th of February, 2007. Today, I have attempted to focus on more immediate futures. I used the device to witness today's events, which, fascinatingly enough, shewed the future precisely as it occurred. Using the device, I predicted conversations. I thought I found myself unable to drive the conversations past what I had witnessed. Somehow, no matter how much I tried to state anything outside of the small talk I knew I would state, I found myself practically driven on autopilot. Is there no way to overcome this inevitability of predicted conversations? Sleep more. I will sleep more. 28th of February, 2007. Once again tried predicting the day. Was unable to avoid a vehicle that hit me from the right side. I knew it was coming, but maybe it was my lack of sleep that caused my bodily harm, an inability to dodge. Maybe, however, knowledge does not mean change. Maybe it is some effect of causality, say by knowing an exploration of these concepts leading to my lack of sleep is what caused the collision. Maybe I should stop this madness. 14th of May, 2007. I lost the journal again, not a clue how it occurred. My door seemed jammed a little, but I am feeling paranoid. I have been using this device to predict events more often, obtaining some decent scratch-off tickets. Doing so and made good conversations after I stopped fighting it and instead flowed into it. The machine doesn't even hurt anymore, though I have begun wearing a hat around, as I noticed 24 small holes in my skull look kind of suspicious. Am I alright? I have begun to ask myself. Maybe I'm teetering towards madness. If you see the whole day outlaid before you, before it occurs, maybe that is enough to shift you towards madness. I should stop, but I still find it fascinating. I will attempt a more long-term glimpse next. Oh, and I failed to meet with some friends lately. It's not that I genuinely don't want to visit them, it is that I forget. Ironic, since the culmination of my research has been into a bizarre device for the purpose of glimpsing the memories of multiple time frames. Maybe I am just not naturally good at remembering things. Why else would I have chosen to log it in this journal? Did someone ask me to do so? No. It is all me. 15th of May, 2007. For the first time, the procedure failed. When I initiated the painful probing, I pushed forward to 3 years from now, just to see where I was, and instead, my mind seemed to black out. No coherent thoughts, no accumulated memories, no subsequent internal dialogues. Until the device shut down, I do not think I had another thought. I lost 3 hours between when I initiated the procedure and when I returned to the apparent present. How did I lose so much time, I ponder. I will try for a smaller time frame, but not today. That was too much for me. 17th of May, 2007. 3 months into the future is fine. Too long of an interval, maybe. Then where is the line drawn? And shouldn't a too long interval be inexistent according to the theory? Surely, I don't die in just 3 years. Surely, I have not reached a conclusion to my pitiful life already. Surely, there is more. 18th of May, 2007. 2 years still yields nothing, just the utter blackness of null. We'll try another year or so. Try 1 year tomorrow. 1 year is still too long. I can't die already, can I? I am not ready. I am not prepared for my conclusion yet. The inevitability of death becomes more much more terrible when you have knowledge of what should have been an escape from death, of what should have made an escape from death possible. I thought maybe I could prevent tragedies. I thought maybe I could protect those I cared for with this. I thought I could protect myself. Indeed, I must be taunted by the darkness of my near future. I will spend tomorrow trying to find the precise date of my own death. 27th of May 2007. I cannot take any more of this. I know not where I die, but sometime within the next 6 months I lose everything I was. Has the knowledge of my own death been what causes it? I fear that it will come as a result of my constant probing and shocking of my mind. I fear that my very research into how to avoid it is the cause. I don't know unless I continue, however. 14th of July 2007. I lost it a third time, and now I'm suspicious it is not my own fault. I'm forgetful as of late, but at the same time, I think someone has been inside the house. They have snuck in and read all of it. I'm sure of that. Is that how I die? Or will it be by my own hands? I will attempt a final probing for my time of death tomorrow. 29th of October 2007. I lost it again. I lost the notebook. I lost it again. I lost the notebook. Surely, it was not my own fault this time. What could anyone have to gain from taking it twice like that? This takes a load off my chest, but I attempted once again to probe for the future and witness no new futures for me. I still die within a month. I will make preparations to obtain a legacy. 4th of November 2007. I saw at last some notable features of my death. A building, company I did not recognize, taking me away. I saw my demise is to take place in the building of this obscured corporation. I am losing details by the second, as I saw it in a dream rather than through the device. I dreamt my demise. I will be taken by a large military vehicle and disappear forever in that building they own without a name to my face. Did they know of these experiments? Something tells me they did, though I had hidden away the machine. This journal I did not see. What did I do with the journal? I had to leaf through the journal, wondering at once why it was I lost all the memory of it. After the experiments concluded, I remember what I did with the machine, how I disassembled it and hid it away with all the other papers on the wooden desk, save a blueprint and an envelope to a friend, which this compilation of my experiences will be stowed in, but I had no recollection what became of that journal. This organization, of which I knew little of, clearly had been the ones I suspected of breaking and entering. I didn't misplace it. I never did. I remember more now, but hardly anything new of the past. I can see everything seemingly in reverse at this point. I am tormented by the organization for their own research in collaboration with a gray skinny man barking orders. I am brought in after a capture in their vehicle. I waited at my home for an entire 3 weeks after my hiding away of the machine, and of course betwixt that, I write this letter to my old friend. As I descend further into madness, I ask this crazy request. I need you to protect what is inside that locker. Protect what is inside that locker. The contents are not to ever be brought back, as despite their uselessness to me, I suspect there are those who can make some use of it. Human minds are malleable things, but not as malleable as the world around us. There are those who can change it, even if I could not. Maybe if I lured others, I tell myself, I can alter things by reaching the ears of the untainted by my pursuits. I wish to return the knowledge to the box I pulled it from.